Nadia's finally here.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for a while. She's here. I know you've been waiting. Is it nice to see her out there? How has it been since she got here?
It's been brilliant. Nadia, she just ups the stakes again, right? And we know as we're building out this club in the first year and the second year, that's about getting the right characteristics, the right characters in this club who carry the right characteristics, and Nadia is one of them. So we were selective about the types of experiences we brought in, and look what she brings. I'm sure you can just tell through the conversations. She's motivated by different things. She holds very high standards, and having her in the locker room now is it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah.
It might be too early to tell, but have you noticed her, just like what she's done and everything with her life, have already some sort of an impact on the players, even though she's just got here, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Players gravitate towards her. Players, she garners the respect of the players, not only because of her past as a person and what she's gone through and overcome, but also the way that she's had her career play out. I mean, she's played at the highest level. She's gone everywhere to do a job and bring success, and that's what we hope to do here. She's laying the foundations here for a very big, sustainable future for this club. So it definitely has a huge impact upon the younger players and also the experienced players too. She's got work to do. They've got work to do, and they're moving forward together.
Were any of the players starstruck when she first came, or anything like that?
It's a good question. They haven't told me that, but they were definitely. You can just see that. When you bring in world-class players to complement what's going on in this club, it just ups the level of everything that we're doing, and Nadia's way of doing things is very different. I mean, 7 o'clock in the morning, we're sitting and having breakfast with her as she's doing her thesis for her schoolwork. I mean, she opened up a paper she's reading, which is the cultural indicators in organisational innovation in Scandinavia. And you've got a professional soccer player doing that. That's the level of intelligence behind this person. That's the level of intent behind everything she does. So that'll rub off on the younger players for sure.
Couldn't help but be struck just watching you with, whether it's Ebony or Nadia, but thinking about the difference between today and some of those early days sitting out here when you were just starting out. I mean, it's come a long way. It hasn't been a long time, but how do you feel about not just them, but the whole development?
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. We talked about it to the players. The fact that we walked off the field in Orlando against the team that just went top, and we were absolutely furious with ourselves for dropping a goal in the last minute. If you had told us that in February 1, we probably would have bit your hand off. So it's a bit of the evolution of the club. So now, we went out, we identified Nadia and Ebony even before pre-season started, and the players that are here have done such a tremendous job, and they've been the driving force behind everything we've done, and will not compromise on that. The players that we bring in just sprinkle, additional talent and a different characteristic to what we already have. So it's very exciting, and there's still a huge amount of growth ahead. We're 4, 5, 6 months old. There's a lot of blending now to go on. There's a lot of chemistry that's to be formed on and off the field, and it's exciting to have these pieces here, and it's exciting to have them in the city.
Christy, what's a realistic timeline for Nadia's availability for a game?
She'll be available this weekend. We'll decide how this week goes, how much she'll play this weekend. She's, because of the delay through visa, and also the fact that she just came off a season in France, a long season in France with a great run in the Champions League. We do have to be very particular and careful about how we blend her into the club from a physical standpoint. But yeah, you'll see her in the squad this weekend. She may start, she may come off the bench. We haven't. We'll see how the week goes.
How do you see her blending up top with Ebony, and also, I mean, Cece's already kind of moved around a little bit as well, but that formation itself, how do you see the impact there?
Yeah, I think that it gives us a different look, right? It allows us to come at things with a few different dimensions. The big thing was we wanted to get Cece in a more natural position for her. We asked a lot of her in pre-season, and my goodness, she was absolutely fantastic. We could drop Cece deeper. It allows us to drop Sav deeper, where she's seen a lot more of the ball. It allows us to get Yuki inside the field a lot more, where she can orchestrate our attacks. And then it allows us, we can go with the front 2, we can go with the front 3, we can go with the front 1. And Nadia is very comfortable anywhere across those lines. So's Ebony, so's Cece, so's Amina Ekage, whoever it may be. There's a lot of flexibility in how we can attack, and that's for us to try and maximise in the coming weeks and months and years.
I guess how much excitement does that bring you as a coach? You have such a versatile team, and you can adjust and tweak and just experiment.
It's exciting. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good problem, because you have to sit down, you really have to go through what we're trying to do here, and it's only in the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, that we've been able I guess have the privilege of having to leave a player out of the game day squad. I think we got to probably 6 games in, probably more than that, 7 games in between Challenge Cup and regular season, where we just had to put what was available on the bench, and now it ups the stakes, and it's difficult conversations that have to take place with some players that don't make the squad or don't get off the bench. But it's pro sports, it's competition, you know. If they're not performing here, then it's going to be difficult to put them on the field, and that's okay. It also, the next thing it does as well is we bring in a 20-year-old who's a young kid and she scores goals and everybody gets excited. With that comes pressure and expectation, and bringing in Nadia, who's been there, done that, it kind of takes that weight off her shoulders and maybe allows her to be a little bit more free in some of her decisions on and off the field as well. So I think it's a privilege rather than a pain.
Nadia said you guys had you'd connected before through soccer. Tell me about maybe how you've seen her grow in that connection before.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's probably one of the biggest privileges of my career was we first had her at Sky Blue, and I remember coming back from a game in Western New York. It's a 8 or 9 hour bus drive down from New York to New Jersey. I think we probably lost a game. And all the players in the team were there. They were just relaxing at the back of the bus, talking during this bus journey. And Nadia just got there, and she was sitting with this thing that was about 1,000 pages big. And I was wondering what could she possibly be reading, and what would she want to read after losing a game. And it was actually a medical journal that she was reading as she was going through her studies to become a plastic surgeon. So right away I got to figure out there's a whole lot more to this person than just soccer. And then we sit down and go through her background, her story, and Nadia and I will, you know, she's a high octane person, and she's very strong in her will and desire, which is why ultimately she's here and she's done what she's done. So her and I would butt heads in a good way, and we'd challenge each other, and she's made me a better coach. She challenged me to think differently. She challenged me to find things within her game that would hopefully make her better. And then off the field, we have a really good personal relationship. Every time I see her having success, whether it was in Portland, whether it was in Man City, PSG, I was delighted for her. And when we talked about the idea of bringing her here, my first answer was, I actually am really happy where she is in her career right now at PSG, and she looks like she's in a good place, and I don't want to disrupt that because I got a kick out of seeing her being happy. But she said, listen, I want to come here, and her words that I'll never forget were, I want to create a legacy and I want to make history within the club at this city. So I thought, okay, no, nothing else needs to be said. That's the type of person she is. She's driven by more than just soccer. She's driven by being the absolute best, by creating legacies, by impacting other people in positive ways. And when her soccer career comes to an end, she's opened her own plastic surgeon surgeries all over Denmark and Europe. It's a different caliber of person, never mind soccer player.
Christy, speaking from a broader team perspective, you've said before, everybody in this league is professional, so the Olympic break, some people view it as maybe a chance for a club like you who doesn't have a ton of U.S. women's national team stars or other international stars going overseas. Is this a chance for you to kind of take advantage of that, I guess, while other teams are missing some of those pieces?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could definitely go with that on a short-term basis and hope that we pick up points and maybe establish ourselves within the league. But while we're going with that, we need to be nailing our progress. And that. It sounds cliche, it sounds repetitive. We have to be nailing getting better, not just taking advantage of the fact that maybe some teams are missing one of their bigger stars. Because we get Seattle coming, or we got Washington this weekend. They're stacked from top to bottom. We get Seattle next week, stacked with Marizan, Lucimere, Fish. There's no easy way around this, so we have to be getting better. And if the US were to drop out, or if these team players are back here in 2-3 weeks, we need to be better. Regardless of picking up the points, we need to be better. So yes, there's a day-to-day process that we have to live by. At the weekend, it's great if we can pick up points and we can close gaps and we can establish ourselves, but we need to make sure that we're laying the foundations that will see this club here for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And that's going to be the focal point in the coming weeks, months, and right up to the end of the season.
With Nadia accomplishing all that she has accomplished, has she been able to shed her nickname of T-Rex?
Never gonna lose little arms of hers. She has to work on it. But the first thing she did, she was in the door 5 seconds. She's making fun of me, so I will never let her live that down. Absolutely. But she promised I'd be the first victim of her plastic surgery. So we'll work together on this. She's not gonna let that one go.